Hey guys, my name is Samantha. For my emergent media digital artifacts, I've created a podcast called Bring a Bottle. It's based around true crime in the instances of paranormal activity. I chose to use a podcast to create and produce a friendly conversational mood. I want to allow individuals who are interested in these genres to listen and relax and enjoy no matter where they are in life, both literally and metaphorically. I also want to allow my audience to have a voice and a sense of connection with my podcast through the way I communicate with them and share my own emotions. My podcast is available on multiple platforms, with the main one being Spotify. This is due to its ease of use and the fact that it is used by nearly all ages. Unfortunately, I've only been able to post one podcast so far, which wasn't what I had anticipated. But thankfully, I've gained some feedback and statistics that will help to improve audience share outside my immediate bubble of friends and family. I've been using my Instagram and Twitter accounts to promote and gain insight into what my listeners want to hear. I plan on creating a Bring a Bottle Instagram all about my podcast to promote it even further. My first episode was based on the paranormal side of my podcast, testing to see if viewers would want to enjoy listening to real-life experiences with a guest on board. I received feedback from a listener suggesting I think you should have someone on who doesn't really believe and try to convince them or explain it from your own perspective. I ran with this. I thought it would be amazing to have two different perspectives in one episode. Based on his feedback, I asked my listeners through my Instagram account if they would want to hear this. I received feedback suggesting I have someone who believes and someone who doesn't to argue about the topic. This feedback was amazing and sealed the deal. I've decided and planned my next paranormal activity episode to have two friends, a believer and a non-believer, and bring a twist to what my listeners have requested. This should bring some spice to the episode and hopefully be intriguing enough to attract more listeners, especially those who might know my special guest. While viewing the statistics of my podcast episode, I identified the majority of my listeners were within the age of 18 to 22, comprising of 68% of the audience, compared to the older age groups of 35 to 44 and 45 to 59, each comprising of only 3% of the audience. I sought feedback from members of the older demographics to gain their opinions on what would attract their age groups to my podcast and how I could improve. One respondent said it would need to be advertised on a platform that I and my people my age would most commonly use. That platform would be Facebook, as my friends and I don't use things like Spotify or Instagram. To make me pay attention and actually want to listen to your podcast, you would have to emphasize that it is about real-life crime, and the more bizarre, the better. I knew I could 100% do what needed to be done to engage with this age group. I decided to share my podcast on Facebook and create more episodes based on true crime, starting with the insane case of the Gonzalez family, emphasizing in my promotion on Facebook how bizarre and interesting this case actually is. I am extremely happy I've created a podcast instead of my initial plan of a YouTube channel. The anger and frustration of creating and editing a YouTube videos overtook me, and I made the leap to creating a podcast. It was much easier to edit and took away a lot of the pressure and strain I had placed on myself. Due to this late change, I have only created one episode. I can't wait to create many more podcasts before the end of the digital artifact and the future after the fact. But thankfully, with my feedback, I only have positive changes to make and to please and attract more listeners. Thank you.